following is a paid commercial program. Unless otherwise identified, the guests on the program are employees of or otherwise represent the advertiser. The opinions expressed therein are those of the advertiser and do not necessarily reflect the views and policies of 900 CHML.
Welcome to another edition of Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML. My name's Rick Zamprin, in studio once again with Tree Ride, certified hypnotist and human behavior expert at Burlington Hypnosis Center. Good morning. Is it too late to say Happy New Year still?
No, I don't think it's too late. Good morning, and yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah. How were your holidays?
My holidays were amazing. I think it's about rest and relaxation, restoring and getting ready for another great year. How about you?
Nice and quiet, nice and relaxing, nice way to recharge and reset the batteries. And when you said rest, I thought you said rust. It's also a good time to shake off the rust and, get motivated and excited for a new year, which brings some new challenges and obviously brings some resolutions as well. We're going to talk about that on the show too, because a lot of people have made resolutions. And, we're at the time of the year where a lot of people have said, you know what, forget about it. I'm not going to go down that route. But some resolutions are health-based and they're good to continue on. So we'll try to help our listeners this morning do that. And you can do that and take a big step forward by booking a free screening with Burlington Hypnosis on their website. burlingtonhypnosis.ca is the website address. Again, burlingtonhypnosis.ca. We'll remind you of that throughout the program today. But we'll start to talk about resolutions because, as I mentioned, it's the time of the year where people want to quit smoking, want to lose weight, want to become healthier. Maybe they just want to get more fit, eat better, whatever's on the list. Now is the time to do it. Are you getting calls? Are you getting those website questions to say, where do I start? Is hypnosis right for me? How's it working for you?
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of people in booking the free screening because they're basically humans. They begin to want to change when they're in some sort of pain. Right? So whether they're holding on to excess weight and they're tired or their joints aren't handling the weight properly, or they're having some pain or discomfort in any kind of way. So pain and discomfort, it could be with relationships, it could be with smoking and a hacking cough and feeling discomfort, but it's some form of discomfort that a human being's having makes them want to make a resolution or choose something to change about themselves.
So is that pain, is that necessarily their breaking point, or do you encounter people who come visit you at Burlington Hypnosis and you get the sense that they're not quite at their breaking point? They want to make a change, they want to make a difference in their lives, but they might have some room to kind of assess where they're at. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So a lot of people, they have different pain tolerances. Right. So a lot of people, they could be in a not great relationship, and that could be their deepest pain threshold. Or there could be somebody in a heavier, toxic relationship, and they can handle more for whatever reason. We all live our lives differently, and the great thing is that we all also have the opportunity to better ourselves. And especially the country we live in, how we live our lives here, the opportunities that we have, which is great. So I encourage anyone to really step into this opportunity of creating your life to be better.
And again, you can make that free screening a reality by going online to burlingtonhypnosis.ca. And you mentioned relationships because when I thought pain, I was thinking the physical pain, right? The joint pain or carrying around that excess weight or, the hacking cough, which for some can be painful. But relationship-wise, there's a lot of gray area there too because it's a different kind of pain. And you might have some individuals who are thinking, tomorrow will be better, or, if I do this, it'll make the situation better. And at the foundation of the relationship, as you said, can be toxic or really unhealthy. And changing that is very hard because now you're dealing with another individual. Right?
Yeah. But it's like, when one person changes themselves, it changes the whole thing. It's like a domino effect. Right. So we actually have more power in the fact that if we're changing ourselves, that it also changes all of the relationships around us as well. The biggest thing in any kind of relationship is people ending up in an unuseful emotion. Us as humans, we are in an emotional state every single moment of every single day. So it's about really learning how to change your own emotional state so you're not ending up in either guilt, resentment, or anger or any of these things, and you're having this larger perspective of what your needs are, and how to get your needs met.
And through hypnosis, from the client perspective, is there an aha moment, or is this a slower, maybe a quick metamorphosis in terms of them getting what you're trying to relay for them? Or I guess everyone's different, right? Some people might absorb it a lot quicker or a lot slower than others.
Absolutely. And the truth is, I mean, you can't read the label when you're in the bottle. So, so when people show up at the Burlington Hypnosis Center, that they do have an aha moment because they're like, oh, wow. Yeah, things can change, or actually I didn't realize that there was an opportunity to change. Some people, they can get so fixated in thinking like, oh, I just need to run 5 kilometers a day. And it's like, well, a lot of weight loss has to do with relationships with yourself, relationships with others. A lot of people spend a lot of time doing too much for other people, and they're in guilt, or in some form of emotion that's also forcing their body to hold on to the weight.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the relationship, and I want to focus on this because I find it really fascinating, is that do individuals, obviously they're reaching out for a reason, they know there's an issue, but do they truly realize either the cause or the impact of that?
Some people don't. Some people, they think like, oh, it's not that bad because they're what we call towards pleasure people. Right? So there's towards pleasure people, or there's away from pain people, right? Away from pain, they're only going to do something when they're like, oh, okay, I got to do this, right? Towards pleasure, they're running towards things. They're seeing what's good about it. Right? So if it's a towards pleasure person, then they're just like, oh yeah, like if somebody comes in, say they have 100 pounds to lose, and they're just like, oh, I just need to lose 20 pounds. And, so it's bringing the realization to the actual person of what actually is going on. Even people that come in to better their sleep, they're like, yeah, I'm getting 4 or 5 hours a day. I'm all right. Well, but it can cause many things in the body that could be getting hurt or damaged, can manifest if your body's not getting enough rest, restore. Our bodies heal when we sleep. So if your body doesn't have enough time to heal, there can be a lot of issues later on. Right.
It's New Year's resolutions time. Many people have made resolutions. Is there a more common call that you're going to take or have been taken over the last number of weeks in terms of, I need help with this? And what is that issue?
Yeah, a lot of it is, when you talk about human betterment, it's eating better, treating the body better. So mind, body, heart, spirit, all of those things. Scaling back on bad habits. That could be anything at all. From reducing caffeine to, but those are, we don't deal with specifics, because when there's anything going on, there's always an underlying symptom. The symptom is the cigarette smoking or the excess weight, but there's always something going on other than that. So it's the relationship that people have with themselves, also with others. So if people are holding on to excess weight, sometimes they're not letting other people know in their inner circle of what their needs are.
Right.
Right.
So how do you unlock that through hypnosis?
Well, it's really about, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and people, once they learn how to learn the tools and techniques to unlock it themselves, it's so freeing, because then they have the remote control in their hand. Right? They're the ones that are like, wow, this feels so much better. And that they're the ones that have the remote in their hands. So they're the ones that's allowing the change to happen within themselves. So it's really about learning. And essentially people are getting unhypnotized out of their old unwanted habits, patterns. And then they're using hypnosis to create the new habits, new patterns that align with the outcome that they want.
And for everyone, that timeline is a little bit different, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if somebody comes in and they only have 20 pounds to lose as opposed to 100 pounds to lose, it's going to take longer.
Right.
And every single human being that comes to us, all of our programs are completely unique to the human. Everybody has something different going on. So yeah, it's really unique to the human in front of us. And that's why it works so beautifully, because with many things out there in the world, it's like first you do this and then you do this. And whereas it's nothing like that, it's really unique to the human that we're working with.
When people give you a call or go to the website, burlingtonhypnosis.ca, and again, you can book a free screening on the website, burlingtonhypnosis.ca, are they at the end of their rope? Have they tried like everything under the sun and now have thought, okay, let's give this a shot? Is that usually how it works?
A lot of the times, yeah. Yeah, I mean, people, they've tried so many different things, and that's, again, a lot of those things that are out there. It's like step 1, step 2, and whereas it's like it's like dating yourself, right? So it gets exciting. And even when we talk about New Year's resolutions, when people are like really motivated to do something and they created this whole vision in their head about like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then they start doing it. It's almost like dating somebody, and it's exciting. But as we all know, after you date somebody for a little bit, you sort of get used to what's happening.
Right.
So through hypnosis and neurolinguistics, people are learning how to keep that excitement alive. And that's what makes it useful to stay on point and to really make it to the outcome that you want.
That early part of the relationship, and we've got about a minute to talk about this.
Yeah.
That early part of the relationship, that's when the endorphins are kind of going off and you're all excited and you just can't get enough of each other and you got to see each other all the time. Is that what you kind of discover through hypnosis, whatever you're trying to solve?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're really sort of kind of taking away the potential of sabotage, right? So even in relationships, in relationships with partners, sisters, spouses, parents, whatever it is, there can be this sabotage underlying thing, not on purpose. So it's really learning the tools and techniques to allow that to not happen, to expect it, and getting ahead of it. So, a lot of people, if they're into fitness, well, hey, you're going to get bored. And that's what I tell people, you're going to get bored. So what's next? So how else can you move your body that makes you feel good?
Right. And that can include self-sabotage as well, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Because you make yourself think, I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to be able to do this today. I'll push it off to tomorrow. And that's where the procrastination comes in, and ultimately it all breaks down.
Well, and the truth is what you're talking about is, hey, we make up dialogue in our head all the time. So if you're making it up in your head all the time, why not learn how to make up the stuff in your head that keeps you on track with what it is that you want?
Great point. More great insight from Tree Ride certified hypnotist and human behavior experts with Burlington Hypnosis Center. Book a free screening today online, burlingtonhypnosis.ca. You're listening to Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML.
You're listening to a paid commercial program. Unless otherwise identified, the guests on the program are employees of or otherwise represent the advertiser. The opinions expressed therein are those of the advertiser and do not necessarily reflect the views and policies of 900 CHML.
Welcome back. This is Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML. Rick Samprin with you. So too is Tree Ride, certified hypnotist and human behavior expert at Burlington Hypnosis Center. Encourage you to book a free screening today online at burlingtonhypnosis.ca. Again, that's burlingtonhypnosis.ca. You can get help losing weight, stop smoking, manage stress, manage pain, and make other important life changes with hypnosis, like getting a better sleep. You mentioned that earlier on in the segment. Sleep is a major factor in our lives. If we don't get enough of it, and quality sleep, it could have dramatic effects all over the spectrum in terms of what we do on a day-to-day basis. Is that because you're hypnotizing people? Is that one of the easier ones to kind of solve or unlock? Or are they all the same?
Well, it's completely unique to the individual. It depends what the individual has going on. Generally, when people are having a hard time sleeping, they're having a hard time slowing down or changing the dialogue that's in their mind. They're generally in a lot of worry. right? What about this? What about that? Or they could be in a lot of guilt, putting pressure on themselves. Oh, I should have done that, or I should have done this. And so it's really learning how to sort of, we're in radio here, so like adjusting the tune dial so that you're really choosing to listen to the things that get people towards what it is that they want, right? So, if people aren't sleeping enough, their needs aren't being met. Maybe they have stress in their life. So there could be lots of things, and that's why we offer the free screening, because it's really all across the board. And so it's finding out what their needs are and really seeing what's actually happening.
Okay. Let's talk about the free screening. And again, any of our listeners can go online right now and book one, burlingtonhypnosis.ca. Whether you've made a New Year's resolution or not, maybe you need help in a certain aspect of your life, relationship or health-wise in terms of some physical pain. How does that free screening work, and what are you kind of looking for in that meeting?
So the free screening, you can, like you're mentioning, that you can book it online. So we're seeing if they are a candidate for our hypnosis programs. It's super fun. It's informative. We answer everybody's questions at that time. So we bring them through about what really is going on. And as hypnotists, we are human behavior experts. So even just by visually seeing the human in front of us, we can tell a whole bunch of patterns that's going on, right? So the things that people say aren't necessarily exactly what's going on. You think about when you go to a party, everybody has their own canned stories or comments of what it is that they want the people that they're about to meet to learn about them, right? And it's true with our own internal dialogue. We're going to make that up in our mind of what we think or what we're convincing ourselves of, specifically of what is going to get us to our outcome. Or sometimes that dialogue in an immense way sabotages us from getting it, but we truly think that it's going to get us there. So it's readjusting and retuning what that dialogue is.
Right. So what makes someone maybe not an ideal candidate for hypnosis? What's going on with them that you're thinking this might not work?
Well, if somebody comes in and says, my wife or my husband set this appointment up for me, and, hey, bibbity bobbity boo, like, can you make something happen here? Like, I wish I could, but it's good that I can't, because it's better for the person to learn what it is that they need to learn, and that they're the ones with the remote control in their hand. They're the ones adjusting the dial, right? And that's important because it's their life too.
So you need that buy-in. Like, that's an absolute must.
It's, and I prefer to call it leveling, right? Okay. They need to level with what's going on, right? If, again, going back to, if somebody is convinced that, they have to smoke because all of their friends smoke, right? Or when they're out with their friends, where the truth is that all of their friends don't want to smoke either, right? So they're convincing themselves in their mind, oh, well, this is just what I do. Well, if us as a society said, well, we're still using horse and buggy because this is just what we do. Right. Then we're missing out on a lot of things. Or convincing ourselves, well, the internet doesn't exist. Right. My dad's so cute. He'll say, like, he knows that it kind of exists, but he doesn't believe in it, kind of thing. Right. But yet he'll call me and say, can you look this up for me? Right.
You're like, Dad, go to the library.
Yeah. It's like I'm the only magic person in the world that can come up with the answers that he needs.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But no, it's the internet. Right. So we transfer through all of these different belief systems, right? As we grow, at one point in time, we all needed to wear diapers, and then we dated, or we were single, or we chose to believe our identity with certain things, even if we had a different career and then we have a new career. Sometimes people can hold on to either identity or beliefs or different things, and that's really fundamentally of what it is that we're helping people change.
For those who are going online to burlingtonhypnosis.ca to book that free screening, and they're the ideal candidate, that means they might be at the end of the rope, but they truly want to see that change happen, right? So they're in.
Yeah, anything that anybody wants to change, I would encourage them to book a free screening and just be curious about it. Everybody at a free screening, they learn something about themselves and others, and it's fun. Right? It's fun. Humans are fun. That's what I love about doing what I do. It's truly amazing. Us as a species is truly amazing that we're here. So, hey, why not make human betterment within yourself?
Absolutely. Do you get those individuals who are kind of in the middle? They're not completely buying in. They're not saying, my wife told me to come here. But they want to see change, and they're maybe skeptical at how hypnosis can help them.
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Most like a lot of people can think like, oh, hypnosis. Do you wave a crystal or something across? Well, the hard and fast answer is no. Right? And I love those people, to tell you the truth, because once they meet me and see me and they learn more about themselves, they're like, wow. So it's very much eye-opening, and that's the experience that everyone that comes into the clinic really gets the opportunity to experience.
Yeah. What's the biggest misconception or myth maybe with hypnosis? Because you mentioned, the dangling crystal or the pocket watch, and we're going to put you in a deep sleep and make you walk around like a chicken. What are those?
You just said it. A lot of you're not going to make me bark like a dog. Well, unless you want to. Yeah.
But is that and how do you steer around that?
Just bluntly answer it, just how I answered the question like you just asked me it. I get that question a lot. And, and I always make a joke out of it. It's like, oh yeah, or am I going to, just pass right out? And I'm like, well, if you want to, if you're surrendering into it, but, it's different for everybody too. So even people that come in, if they're like, oh, this happened and that happened and this happened, and that's great. It's like you telling somebody about a restaurant that you went to and you like totally different food than the person that you're describing. You are a completely different person. Maybe you're married. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you view the world in a completely different way. And that's awesome. So even if people are describing their experience of hypnosis to somebody else, that somebody else's experience is going to be different. And that's a good thing because they're a different person. If the expectation is for everything to be the same, then that means that the expectation that we're all wearing the same clothes, we're all listening to the same music, we're all doing the exact same thing. So also too, to that point, all of us as humans, we, what we say is sort by distinction. Our brain looks for things that match what it is that we're thinking about. Or how we perceive the world around us. So if that's the case, then you're attracting or only seeing the things that you are already choosing to believe.
Right.
So when people are in stress or overwhelm, if they're choosing to stay there, that's also what their brain is trying to match with what it is that they're seeing in the world.
This is probably a horrible example, but would I'm going to regret what I'm about to say, but
that's a good setup. Nice.
Is it just like when you buy a new car and then all of a sudden you're seeing your car all over the world? Everyone
you got
else
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly an example of it.
All right.
Right? Or have you ever heard a song on the radio and you didn't really like the song and then you hear it even more?
All the time.
And then you start humming to it? Yeah, that's another example.
Okay. All right. So paint a picture for us and our listeners in terms of the hypnosis process. Is it a dark room? Is it just you and the other person? How does it work?
Yeah. So, each session is, again, it's completely unique to the person. We keep everything flexible. So even each session, it's not like this is your time slot. You can only be here in this time.
Right.
It's really, we do whatever the client needs. So it's them having the experience that they need to have in that moment. We have various clinical rooms with each clinical room that is set up with mics like this and headphones. And we have really cool stuff like a light and sound machine. We use NLP techniques. NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay.
And then also, too, it's a very human element. So they are one-on-one sessions. I also actually do a couple of talks each month that's also available to all of our clientele that address different topics as well, which is very useful. So clients are learning things from all different angles, which is why it works so beautifully, because it's not just that that one thing. It's really coming at it from all different angles when it comes to human perspective.
Wow. Is the client laying down? Are they sitting? How I'm just trying to, picture
Yeah,
in my mind
both actually. So we have really comfy recliners. A lot of clients, when they come in, they just hop in the chair, recline back, and in this time of year, we have blankets as well. So they just like cuddle in, and they're just like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to learn tree.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are they learning? And is it through the power of suggestion, or are you convincing them that, listen, you can do this. This is totally on you, and you're going to get there?
There's no convincing. They convince themselves because they're doing it, right? Like they're the ones with the controller in their hand. They're the ones, being able to tune it whichever way that they want. So it's really them having their own realizations through the tools and techniques that they're learning. And it's interesting that you mentioned about like the power of suggestion, and it's true, right? So you look at teenagers in school and say there's like a clique in school, right? And one popular girl just says like, oh, this looks good or whatever. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, that looks good or whatever, right? So they're following these things. So the power of suggestion is everywhere, all around us. Hypnosis is everywhere, all around us. And everybody's basically been in a hypnosis state. Everyone can really be hypnotized unless you're completely hammered drunk or you have a brain dysfunction or something like that, or you're just choosing not to.
Right.
You're sort of being contrarian in a word. So the power of suggestion, it is a very cool and fascinating thing. And then people learn actually how to do that themselves as well. So they're learning how to change their own dialogue.
If our discussion has piqued your interest and you would like to book a free screening at Burlington Hypnosis Center, go online to burlingtonhypnosis.ca. Again, burlingtonhypnosis.ca, and get some, the power of Tree Ride and her staff. I know you have a number of individuals who are under the umbrella and helping people get to that better space. Back to the free screening or the sessions, what are some of the first things you say to the person?
Oh my gosh.
And is it different all the time?
It's different all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, every human being is different. And it's interesting that you say that because I find that in humans, we are looking for those formalities. We're looking for the what is right or wrong in this situation. And the truth is in life, there is no right or wrong. It's really what's right for you, right? Like even when I walked into the studio here, you're like, the first natural thing is like, well, how was your holidays?
Right.
And it's always like, how was your Thanksgiving? How was your Easter? How was your weekend? How was your, and it's like this, niceties. My husband and I, we were even watching The Gilded Age, and the formalities back in that age is that men, if they were going to shake a hand, they had to take their glove off and shake the hand. If you didn't, it was like disrespectful. Right. So even in this, in 2024, here we are, formalities have changed. And so it's sort of breaking down. So to answer your question, one of the big high level picture themes is that we're breaking down maybe things that somebody thinks is right or wrong, or rules that they've created for themselves. And maybe they created those rules when, say, when their kids were really young, and they put rules in place of how to protect family, kids, self, blah, blah, blah. Well, now maybe the kids are like in their teens and they're barely ever home, but yet these people are sticking to that rule, whether it's the husband or the wife or even whoever else is involved in the upbringing, or even self. Sometimes people are like, well, this is what I've always done. Well, how's it working for you? Yeah, I've always stressed about this.
Yes.
Okay, so you like it?
And how are we going to change it? Go online to burlingtonhypnosis.ca. Again, burlingtonhypnosis.ca, and find out how you can lose weight, stop smoking, manage stress, manage pain, and make other important life changes with hypnosis. You've been getting a pretty good glimpse on how it all works. And you mentioned timeline too, and even a session during a day. It could be as little as how long and as long as how long?
Yeah, the sessions themselves, they're anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
But again, we like to have the flexibility, and we're really coming at it. We have tons of resources, tons of articles, talks. I have a podcast as well. So yeah, there's lots of great things that people can learn from all different facets.
All right. Go online today at burlingtonhypnosis.ca and book a free screening. We'll have more of Human Behavior Decoded coming up on 900 CHML.
You're listening to a paid commercial program. Unless otherwise identified, the guests on the program are employees of or otherwise represent the advertiser. The opinions expressed therein are those of the advertiser and do not necessarily reflect the views and policies of 900 CHML.
Welcome back. This is Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML. My name's Rick Samprin. In studio once again with Tree Ride, certified hypnotist and human behavior expert at Burlington Hypnosis Center. We'd love for you to go online to burlingtonhypnosis.ca and book a free screening. You can get help with stopping smoking, manage your stress, manage pain, losing weight, and make those big and important life changes with hypnosis. Earlier on the show, we started talking about New Year's resolutions, and a lot of them are revolving around relationships and the tug of war that we have with our emotions that go along with those. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's a variety of underlying issues with those, or is it one thing that's kind of a common denominator with that? What are you seeing?
A little bit of both. Okay. So when we talk about us as humans, and I think I already mentioned this, is that every single moment of every single day we are in an emotional state. Us as humans, we also cannot unexperience anything that's happened in our lives. Mm-hmm. So when we look at either New Year's resolutions or any human being wanting to make change in their life, there's an emotion about it. You first start with excitement. Yeah, I'm going to do this. You may get a visualization in your mind. You might even get a sense of how it would feel in your body to lose the excess weight, to be a non-smoker, to live a calm and relaxed life. And then what happens is that sometimes people can put so much pressure on themselves to do so much because they've created this big, long, massive list that all of a sudden the emotion can go down in terms of like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I'm a bad person, or whatever the dialogue is in their mind, and it causes an emotional state. And so the truth is through hypnosis and neurolinguistics is people are learning the relationship with themselves, the relationship that they have with their own emotions, noticing where their emotions are, and to really learn how to, throw the rope down, build the ladder, and really get themselves into the mood that's useful and that's realistic. Right? Mm-hmm. Going back to the towards pleasure people, they can really I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We all have those friends that, you meet them at a party and they have these big ideas, and then next time you see them, be like, oh no, I'm on to this now, and blah, 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 right? And it's, the thing is that we need to hold more accountability and find out what that accountability is, or learn how to really sort of what we call chunk things down, make things smaller so that they're actually doable things. And that is the relationship with the self and a relationship with others, because we are, us as humans, there's always other humans around us. So if somebody is doing things more for other people than themselves, then there's another layer of emotions that happens as well. Because when our needs aren't being met, then that's when we can act out. And we can get in unuseful emotions.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the situation at the party when we have the big idea guy and as
or girl
really shoot. What's that?
Or girl.
Or girl. Yeah, absolutely. And is a part of it setting unrealistic expectations or not acknowledging how the goals and expectations they're setting, how to manage that? Or maybe it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I'd say totally both. Yeah. And it's about really having the balance of realism and learning about yourself. What are you capable of? Most people surprise themselves about how much they can do and how much they can accomplish once they learn the tools and techniques in order to uniquely navigate that themselves.
So let's take the big idea girl, and she has made these big ideas, but now she's going through hypnosis. She's at Burlington Hypnosis Center, and is she better able to, the next time this comes about, well, I got this big idea, now is better capable of managing the steps to get to that idea.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have our own way of viewing the world around us. Some people, they do better when they're around other people. Some people do better in tasks and processes. Some people do amazingly in spaces, right? So you look at a lot of writers. Some writers, they can only write in a busy hotel lobby or cafe. Right? So they need to be around people in a place. For some writers, they need tasks and processes so that they know what it is that they're going to follow. And this is different for everybody, right? And so it's learning what motivates you. How can you create I like the word timeline that you said, in order to get what it is that you need done? What atmosphere do you need to be in to get what it is that you need to get done? And it's such a relief when people are like, oh, wow, this feels so good, because they're having more and more sense of accomplishment.
Absolutely. And I got a question that I'll ask on the other side of the break in terms of expectations, because I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I'll frame it on the other side of the break. Again, you can go online at burlingtonhypnosis.ca to book a free screening. Again, that website, burlingtonhypnosis.ca, and help with managing stress, managing pain, and other big and important life changes that you want to see happen in your life. Again, burlingtonhypnosis.ca. One more go-round next on Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML.
You're listening to a paid commercial program. Unless otherwise identified, the guests on the program are employees of or otherwise represent the advertiser. The opinions expressed therein are those of the advertiser and do not necessarily reflect the views and policies of 900 CHML.
Last go round here on Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML. Rick Samprin with Tree Ride certified hypnotist and human behavior expert at Burlington Hypnosis Center. Book your free screening today, burlingtonhypnosis.ca. Again, that website is burlingtonhypnosis.ca. Just before the break, we were talking about expectations, and I hope I didn't make it sound like you shouldn't make those big plans, because we need the big thinkers, we need those excitable people, but it's in terms of, okay, I have an idea, how do I get there? And through hypnosis, you're helping people on that timeline, as you mentioned.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we all have ideas. We all come up with ideas in our heads. Sometimes we end up emailing them to ourselves, or we write it down, or whatever it is. Sometimes the excitement about it can fade. So it's even learning. That's one of the elements as well, is learning to keep that excitement. Just to give you some client examples, which I have permission to use these examples, and I have written permission to share these. With couples, keeping excitement within the relationship. If the excitement isn't in with the relationship, the brain will automatically go to some sort of excitement. So it can be making up stories about the partner or in an unuseful way, right? And so it's learning how to change that, whether it's about a marital spouse, maybe it is a coworker, a boss, a friend, a family member. The way that we interact with humans around us is also the way that we interact with ourselves. These patterns, these behaviors, it's a great thing for them to be adjusted even on an ongoing basis as society changes, that people then are able to get to their outcomes easier, faster, and when they get to their outcomes, they're having the experience of that. And once they have the experience of that, they have proof that they can do it.
Right.
They have proof that, okay, what's the next thing? Okay, what's the next thing? All of us as humans, we only have experienced what it is that we've experienced. So people come to the Burlington Hypnosis Center to learn how to have the experiences that they need to have, right? All of the success stories that's, you can check out on the website, even if you come into the clinic. It's not about us. It's not about, it's about the clients that get betterment. And anyone that's come into the clinic, they're plastered all over the walls, and the clients are happy to do that because they want to help other people get the help that they've gotten as well. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned couples. Do you see couples coming in for hypnosis? Really? Eh?
Yeah, a lot of couples. Maybe it might be a lot of couples. They come in together. Sometimes it could be for the same thing: quit smoking or losing weight.
Right.
Sometimes it's different things. Sometimes one might want to lose weight. The other one is stress management. Sometimes it's couples in business. So they own a business, and so all of a sudden, I love working with everybody, but it creates a larger dynamics, because if the couple's a business owner, then and say they have like 30 employees, it's like they have 30 kids.
Oh, wow.
Right? And each of the employees have a different relationship depending on which department they're working with, whether it's like one partner or the other partner, or so it's a very cool dynamics. And the reason why it's so amazing to work with things like that, with clients like that, is that you see change on a like more of a global sort of realization level. It's not just one person, it's like 30 or 40 people, or if it's a smaller business, it's like 10 or 20 people. Yeah. And it's so cool to just see the business grow, the business making more money, even the employees working for the business having their own personal life and at work life just be so much better. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the ripple effect is massive. And even in the marital couple kind of stage, you're helping two individuals, and these are separate sessions, right? They're not in together?
Yes and no, okay. Depending. Some things I'll teach, they'll learn things together because they are together. Also separate. We all are on our own individual journeys also too. We have journeys with multiple people all around us, whether it's friends, family members, what have you.
Wow, that's fascinating stuff. And we tend to sometimes think of the worst, and maybe the questions are going to come out that way, but if we have, two people who are in a relationship and one is getting it quicker than the other, that shouldn't necessarily dissuade the other people from continuing on, because they're on a different path or a different kind of speed, if you will.
Yeah, and it's interesting because sometimes that happens, and then all of a sudden the one person is moving through a little bit slower in terms of growth, and then the person that was started off in the slower growth exceeds. And so nobody can see my hand gestures.
You're explaining it well.
Yeah. And so, but it's on their own journey, right? You think about it as sort of, what is the relay race when they hand the baton off or whatever? Yep. With relationship, it's like that, for some people, they're going to hand the baton off and they're like, woohoo, I got this energy. And then they hand it off again and it's like, oh, okay, I got this, right? So it's, and that's the greatest thing about all of us as being humans. We are on our own journey, and that's the way it's supposed to be, and that's an amazing thing.
Incredible insight again from Tree Ride, certified hypnotist and human behavior expert at Burlington Hypnosis Center. Book your free screening today online at burlingtonhypnosis.ca. You have been listening to Human Behavior Decoded on 900 CHML.
The proceeding was a paid commercial program. Unless otherwise identified, the guests on the program are employees of or otherwise represent the advertiser. The opinions expressed therein are those of the advertiser and do not necessarily reflect the views and policies of 900 CHML.